You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on. News 25 is brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law, voted Best of Las Vegas. Give them a call, 702-727-9900.
Thank you for joining us here on News 25 and Ace Country Radio, and streaming at KPVM.TV, and now on Roku devices on this Wednesday, May 21st, 2025. Good evening, I'm Chris Palermo. Here's what's happening. Continuing our coverage of Carl Mitchell's legal proceedings, he appeared in court yesterday, May 20th, to challenge an eviction notice. News 25 has this story.
On May 20th, Carl Mitchell and his counsel, J.K. Nelson, had a second court appearance over the eviction from the property he currently resides at. During the hearing, Mitchell's lawyer explained that their position is when the property owner moved forward with the complaint for summary eviction. Their argument is that it should be handled as a motion for summary judgment.
Our position has been when the property owner moved forward with the complaint for summary eviction, our argument is that should be handled as a motion for summary judgment. And in those type cases, motions for summary judgment, all the facts are to be considered most favorable and in light of the non-moving party, in this case my clients. At the proceedings, there was testimony presented by Mr. Mitchell and Catherine concerning the existence of a lease agreement whereby they were to pay a certain lease amount, lease to own.
They believe enough evidence has been raised to substantiate a full-on evidentiary hearing.
We believe enough evidence was raised to substantiate a full-on evidentiary hearing and not just a treatment of a summary judgment type action, which is what proceeded to take place the day of the hearing.
Freedom House Property Management explained that in a summary eviction case, the Justice Court is bound to determine the truthfulness and sufficiency of the affidavits and notices that were filed.
So, Your Honor, in a summary eviction case, the Justice Court was bound to determine the truthfulness and the sufficiency of the affidavits and notices that were filed. I would agree that the existence of a lease would be material. I would agree that it's an issue of fact. But in the case, and the evidence that was presented would show that it was not genuine, and the court determined that either the truthfulness or the sufficiency of that evidence was lacking.
The property owner testified in Justice Court that she did not have a lease agreement with Mr. Mitchell and never seen a written lease agreement between the defendant and the previous owner of the property, who was also known by the community as Flagman.
The first witness called at the hearing was Roberta Wind. She's the property owner, as stated previously. She testified that she's been the property owner since May 6, 2023, which I think is telling because Mr. Milzinski deeded the property to her and not to Mr. Mitchell, which cuts against the argument that there was somehow some outside agreement between Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Milzinski, wherein he would be able to purchase the property. She testified that she did not have a lease agreement with the defendant. She testified that she had never seen a written lease agreement between Ray Milzinski and the defendant. She also testified that prior to the eviction proceedings, neither the defendant nor anyone else told her that there was a written agreement.
Well, first let me say that Ray, the Flagman, sat in my courtroom all the time, and I thoroughly enjoyed him. And, you know, sometimes we had to agree to disagree in our conversations, but I thoroughly enjoyed him coming to court, and I could really look forward to him before the pandemic. He was here almost every Tuesday and Thursday, and thoroughly enjoyed him as a person. This court finds that there's substantial evidence in the record to support that finding, and that I saw no legal error, so the court's going to affirm the decision of the Justice of the Peace.
Judge Kimberly Wonker has given Carl Mitchell until July 7th at midnight to vacate the property. News 25 spoke with Carl Mitchell and his fiancée, Catherine Griffiths, to find out what they plan to do now that the judge ordered them to vacate the property.
The property is going to be purchased at some point. We just have to come to the point of a reasonable price, and that's been the point all along.
More news now. A major development on Capitol Hill this week as U.S. Senator Jackie Rosen spoke on the Senate floor in support of the No Tax on Tips Act a bill originally introduced by President Donald Trump. News 25 has the latest.
U.S. Senator Jackie Rosen took to the Senate floor this week to speak about and successfully pass the No Tax on Tips Act, a measure that would exempt tipped wages from federal income taxes. This bill was met with no objections and passed via a unanimous consent and now heads to the U.S. House of Representatives for consideration. While Rosen framed the legislation as a win for the working class, many Nevadans are pointing out that its origins fall under President Trump, who introduced this idea during his 2024 campaign.
No tax on tips was one of President Trump's key promises to the American people, which he unveiled in my state of Nevada. And I am not afraid to embrace a good idea wherever it comes from. So I agreed we need to get this done. It's not a time for politics, it's a time for progress for hardworking Americans. This bipartisan bill is a good idea that has supports from Democrats and Republicans, so we should pass it as soon as possible without any poison pills. The problem is that the House Republicans have included a version of the No Tax on Tips Act in their bigger budget bill, a bill that cuts Medicaid, SNAP, and other programs families rely on to give more tax breaks for billionaires and the ultra-wealthy. So we shouldn't be forcing working families to choose between keeping their health care or keeping their tips, which is why we want this bipartisan bill to pass on its own, not part of a harmful extreme budget bill.
Nevada, which is home to the highest concentration of tipped workers in the country, would undoubtedly be one of the biggest beneficiaries of this bill. Supporters are arguing that this legislation offers a long overdue relief for restaurant workers, bartenders, casino workers, and other service employees who rely heavily on their tips to make meets end.
This January marked 10 years since the Perump Town Board was formally dissolved. Now, a decade later, one former official says it's time to bring it back. News 25 spoke with Dr. Tom Waters, who believes the community could benefit from reinstating a local town board.
Hi, I'm Tom Waters, and just like to inform you about some things that are happening this week. We're talking about reestablishing the Pahrump Town Board. It's something that I've been interested in, and I've found so many others are interested in it as well. Now, one thing that I'm going to emphasize over and over, Pahrump is over 80% in the population of Nye County, over 80%. And yet we have, when we talk about 47,000 people in Pahrump, and then we have Armagosa, about 1,500 people. They have a town board and a town manager. You have Round Mountain, and you have Tonopah. Again, very small populations. They have town boards and town managers. Pahrump, 47,000 people. We have no local government. We have the county commissioners, and they're doing a fantastic job of trying to handle everything in Pahrump. But they're overwhelmed, and they need some help, and that town board can help the commissioners manage and run the town of Pahrump. That's all I'm asking. So come on out, again, May 23rd from 2 to 4 at Valley Electric Conference Center, and you'll be able to ask all the questions you want. But on Thursday, from 1 to 4, you can call in on K9 Radio and ask your questions, and we can get this thing started so we can have a Pahrump Town Board. Again, this is Tom Waters inviting you to come out and help us help the town of Pahrump. Thank you.
Coming up, our Las Vegas correspondent Maria Centers is filing this report. You're watching News 25.
You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on.
Welcome back to News 25. I'm Chris Palermo. The Pentagon has delivered its latest update showcasing recent works within the military. Our News 25 Las Vegas correspondent Maria Centers now joins us with all of the details.
The U.S. Department of Defense has soared in recent months within all sectors of our military, notably in enlistment numbers, proactive spending measures, and southern border strides. Here's the latest U.S. Armed Forces update offered by our U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, highlighting DoD efforts in support of the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice over the course of the past several weeks. Now let's hear from Pete.
We established the first national defense area. Basically, think about the border. It's similar to a military installation. If you trespass, you will be charged. Well, since then, we've got 2,000 troops patrolling that area. We put over 1,300 signs up in that national defense area, including a second national defense area.
In February 2025, all 5 DoD military services met their recruiting goals, while 4 out of 5 concretely surpassed their target in comparison to 1 year prior.
So the border space that DoD is allowed to take actions inside is growing and growing. But so are the prosecutions, and that's what I want to remind any illegal thinking about entering our country. Combined charges to illegal aliens entering the national defense areas and damaging any government property, which is basically what happens when you trespass, could get a total of up to 10 years in prison.
$5.1 billion in wasteful Department of Defense spending was eliminated back in April after being identified by DOJ.
Just entering the national defense area could lead to charges. You do other things, could be even more. So far, DOJ has already charged more than 100 illegal aliens with these crimes. That number will continue to climb. The number of national defense areas will continue to climb. The barbed wire will climb. The troops will climb because we're going to get 100% operational control of the border. And when you cross illegally, you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law by the Department of Justice.
Border crossings dipped by 99.99% within the first 100 days of President Trump's second term, compared to the Biden administration's initial 100 days, according to the U.S. Department of Defense.
Back in the day when the cartels would look across the border, if they saw camouflage, guys with binoculars, they knew that was somewhere they could cross because the military didn't have the authorities to actually detain temporarily. Now we do. And so if you see guys in camouflage now with binoculars or in striker vehicles with rifles, they have the authority to detain illegals temporarily and assist Border Patrol and hand them over, and now to be charged by the Department of Justice up to 10 years. A reminder that we're taking this seriously and we're going to get 100% operational control of the border.
The U.S. Army, the U.S. Air Force, the U.S. Marine Corps, the U.S. Navy, and the U.S. Space Force have all exceeded their goals when it comes to both retention and recruitment. Reporting from Las Vegas, I'm Maria Centers for News 25.
Thank you very much, Maria. In sports, well, the Las Vegas Aces are on the road, and they're only into their second game. And Mikey's going to tell you how they did that, along with how you could be part of the Aces Fantasy Camp, all coming up in sports.
Time now for your News 25 look at sports and streaming at KPVM.TV and now on Roku devices. The Vegas Golden Knights have signed forward Tomas Urinen to a 3-year entry-level contract. The Las Vegas Aviators are back in action this evening to take on the Sugarland Space Cowboys. Aja Wilson finished with 22 points and 10 rebounds, and Jewel Lloyd hit 6 3-pointers and scored 20 to lead the Las Vegas Aces to an 87-62 beatdown over the Connecticut Sun on Tuesday night. The Las Vegas Aces are putting on their first ever fantasy camp for adults 21 and older. The 3-day event, running August 1st through the 3rd, will give participants a chance to immerse themselves in the world of professional basketball and go behind the scenes of the Aces organization. Fantasy Camp is designed for fans of all skill levels. The camp package starts at $4,950. And that's your look at sports on News 25.
Thank you, Mikey. Regular Harlem Globetrotter over there. Memorial Day weekend is almost here, and before you fire up the grill or light any fireworks, there are some important safety tips to keep in mind. News 25's Rory Rosell has what you need to know to stay safe this holiday weekend.
Memorial Day weekend is almost here, and we at News 25 want to make sure everyone here in Pahrump can celebrate safely. With fireworks and barbecues being two of the most popular holiday traditions, we are sharing important safety information to prevent accidents and keep families safe. First, the Perump Fireworks Safety Site will be open for 3 nights, Friday, May 23rd through Sunday, May 25th, from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. each evening. This site provides a legal and controlled environment to set off fireworks and is the best way to enjoy them while avoiding the risk of wildfires or injuries. Fireworks used outside of this designated area can be dangerous, especially in our dry desert surroundings. So it is strongly encouraged that everyone take advantage of the safety site this weekend. In addition to fireworks, grilling is also a big part of Memorial Day celebrations. It is one of the leading causes to accidental fires during this time of year. If you are planning to barbecue, make sure your grill is on a stable, flat surface and is away from homes, dry brush, and anything flammable. Outdoor cooking equipment should never be used under balconies, overhangs, or inside garages or tents. It has also been reported that you should never leave your grill unattended while in use. Children and pets should keep a safe distance away, which is about 3 feet at all times. Last but not least, always make sure to have a garden hose or a fire extinguisher nearby in case of emergencies. Whether you are lighting fireworks or grilling with your loved ones, a few simple precautions can go a long way in preventing dangerous situations. Let's make this Memorial Day weekend a safe, festive, and fun one for everyone.
You, Miss Roselle, and well, we're going to tell you all about Jim Butler Days and how they'll be celebrating him in Tonopah. You're watching News 25.
You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on. News 25 is brought to you by Mountain West Lawyer, Injury Attorneys, 727-9500.
Welcome back to News 25. I'm Chris Palermo. In May of 1900, a chance discovery by prospector Jim Butler near Tonopah Spring would go on to shape the future of an entire town. While searching for his missing burro, Butler picked up a rock to throw and found silver. That moment sparked a winning boom that put Tonopah on the map, and this weekend, the community honors that legacy with the annual Jim Butler Day celebration. News 25's Mikey Rulian spoke with one of the musical acts, Mr. Johnson, and his Loaded Dice for a review of the festivities.
So your band, they're coming to Jim Butler Days in Tonopah?
Yep. We're going to be doing Jim Butler Days in Tonopah. It's a big mining event they do every year, and going to get out there and have a dang good time playing some honky-tonk and dark western.
And that's on Saturday, right?
It's going to be all weekend. We're going to start off Friday doing the street dance over there at Tonopah Liquor Company. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be people performing all day on Friday, and then Saturday is going to be the main day for the events of Jim Butler Days. And then Sunday, we're going to be playing a performance at the convention center there for the end of the event from about 7 to 9. So it should be dang good after the rodeo.
Have you ever been to a Jim Butler Days before?
I have not been to Jim Butler Days before, so I'm really excited to get out there and see what's going on and check out their competitions and all that stuff. And we've been to Tonopah before, and we like it a lot out there. The Clown Motel, of course, is always very cool, and we love the Mitzvah, and it's just a great vibe out there.
No drop of blood was on the ground, screaming souls from winds and bound. Blazing sun was overhead, saying the man that should be dead.
How's it going? This is Zach Johnson from Mr. Johnson and his Loaded Dice. We'll be playing at Tonopah for Jim Butler Days, 9 o'clock Friday at the Tonopah Liquor Company, and then we'll be playing again Sunday at the Convention Center from 7 to 9. Hope to see you guys out there, and I'll be singing the national anthem at the rodeo, so come on out and have some fun. Thanks.
News 25 Weather Cam is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorney's Office in Perump. In a wreck, need a check? Call 702-877-1500.
That's the Lerner and Rowe weather cam right outside the studios here at KPVM TV in Perump, looking at Mount Charleston. Well, the wind is returning tomorrow, and we may see triple-digit temperatures for the first time this year in Las Vegas and surrounding areas. The forecast coming up in a bit.
Weather is sponsored by the Nevada Dairy Farmers and the Dairy Council of Nevada, sharing the love of all things dairy. Celebrate the best moments with milk. Milk the moment. And the weather is also brought to you by the Ponderosa Dairy, Nevada's largest dairy, fresh from our farm to your table.
Well, good evening, Nevada. My name is Rory Rosell, coming to you from the Channel 25 Weather Studios and taking a look at Nevada right now. Up in northern Nevada, Fernley and Fallon are both seeing 84 degrees. Carson City is at 80, Tonopah is at 81, Goldfield is at 83, Beatty is at 92, Amargosa is at 98, Las Vegas 1 degree lower at 97, and Death Valley is at 109 degrees today. But here in the beautiful Paradise Perump, it is currently 94 degrees. The high today was 95. With sunny skies, the wind was blowing south at 11 miles per hour today, humidity 9%, and the sun rose this morning at 5:32 and is setting tonight at 7:48 p.m. The humidity rises up to 13%, and the wind continues to blow into the night at southeast at 10 miles per hour. The low tonight is going to be 65 degrees. Let's take a look at our 7-day forecast. We are seeing all 90s once again. Oh wait, that's just all 90s all week. Make sure to stay hydrated, Perump, because tomorrow on Thursday it's going to be 96 degrees. 94 on Friday, which also has 20 mile per hour wind speeds, 91 on Saturday, 97 on Sunday and Monday, 93 on Tuesday, and 91 next Wednesday. Like I said, make sure to stay hydrated because it is getting really hot. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Back to the desk, here's Chris.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Rosell. All eyes on the weekend, of course, with the forecast. And tomorrow, quite possibly, they're predicting that we may hit the first day in 2025 triple digits in Las Vegas. That'll just about do it for all of us here tonight. News 25, I'm Chris Palermo. Make it a great night.